I always knew my mom kept secrets, but I figured they were just painful memories from her past. I never expected one of those secrets would save my life. That night in the desert, when everything went wrong, I realized there's a side of her I was never meant to see. And now, I'm not sure I'll ever look at her the same way again. My mom was born in a small city in northern Mexico and moved to the US alone to pursue her education when she was barely 18. From there, everything seemed normal. College, a job, meeting my dad, starting a life here. But her childhood? A complete mystery. Growing up, I'd ask questions about her hometown, her parents, even her childhood memories. She always dodged them, either laughing it off with a bad joke or changing the subject before I could press. My dad used to tell me gently that it was because of painful memories better left alone, and as a kid I accepted that. But the older I got, the more curious and, frankly, unsettled I became. Here's what I do know. She grew up near the Texas border, in a town that's gained a rough reputation over the years. The only time she ever mentioned her family was to joke that her father's side were politicians and her mother's side were criminals, and that she could never tell who was worse. It used to make me laugh. It doesn't anymore. Her father, from what little I've pieced together, worked in some government role. As for her mother, it's like she never existed. There's also one name I remember, C. I once overheard my mom murmuring that name late at night when I was about 10. I had gotten up to use the bathroom and passed by the dark living room when I heard her speaking softly, urgently. The room was completely dark, and though I couldn't see her clearly, I could hear the tension in her voice. She said the name C several times. I flipped the light switch without thinking. She didn't flinch. She just hung up and stared at me with an expression I'd never seen before. Cold, almost frightening. She told me to go back to bed and I didn't dare argue. That was the extent of what I knew, until last year. I live in New Mexico now, not far from where I grew up. One night I was driving through the desert to visit a college buddy. It was a long, lonely stretch of road, and to kill the boredom, I started calling people. After cycling through a few friends without much luck, I decided to call my mom. We talked about soccer, something we both love, and for a while it felt normal, comforting even. That's when I saw it. 2 pickup trucks parked sideways across the road up ahead, blocking the entire lane. At first I thought it might be an accident. I slowed down, heart pounding. My mom was still chatting away in my ear, unaware. Before I could even shift into reverse, 3 men jumped out of the trucks, each one holding a gun. I froze. Worse, a 3rd car pulled up behind me, boxing me in. One of the men knocked his weapon against my window, motioning for me to get out. My phone was still connected to my mom. I raised my hands and obeyed, stepping slowly into the cool night air. The men barked commands at me in Spanish. I couldn't understand most of it, something I've always been ashamed of, not speaking Spanish fluently. They grabbed my wallet, phone, keys, everything, and started searching my truck. One of them climbed inside. I watched helplessly as he noticed my phone, still connected. He hesitated. His hand hovered over the screen like he was about to hang up, but instead, he brought it to his ear. That's when things got weird. I couldn't hear much, but I could tell he was speaking in Spanish to my mom. And then, I swear, I saw him mouth the name C a few times, like he was double-checking he heard it correctly. The other 2 men noticed and came over to the truck, leaning in. After a short, intense conversation, all 3 of them turned and stared at me, like they were seeing me differently now. Within a minute, they handed me my keys, my phone, even my wallet back, minus the cash. One of the guys smiled at me and said in broken English, "Tax, amigo," then walked away. I didn't wait around. I got back in my truck and sped off. As I glanced in my mirror, I saw all 3 vehicles peel off into the desert, kicking up dust and disappearing into the night. None of their cars had plates. Shaking, I called my mom back. I demanded to know what she said to them. She claimed she told them she was tracking me, and was about to call the police. I didn't buy it. There's no way a simple threat of cops would have made those men back off so quickly, and with such visible respect. She stuck to her story, and eventually, I gave up pressing. What else could I do? I drove the rest of the way in stunned silence, turning every crazy possibility over in my head. And the more time passes, the more certain I am. My mother had, and maybe still has, ties to something dangerous. Maybe it's a cartel connection. Maybe it's deeper than that. I've thought about confronting her, about asking her straight up. But a small part of me is terrified. Terrified not just of what she might admit, but of what asking might unleash.